You're listening to For Better and Worse podcast with Rach and okay, we're rolling. The audio's going. My cat is approaching. Queenie, would it really be an episode? Can you say hello, Queenie? Hi guys, it's me and the cat. And we're back. This is really weird. So I'm going to have alcohol about it. Okay. Episode brought to you by generic Aldi alcohol. Cranberry and apple. Extra fruited. Hard seltzer. 9% alcohol. I don't need that. It'll disrupt my REM. It is past my bedtime. But here I am. What you can't see, YouTube commune, and those listening, obviously, is, I am in my laundry room. A curtain is hung, but I am in my laundry room. Things are looking chaotic. Okay. We knew this was going to be a bumpy ride, didn't we? This is the first time I'm recording a podcast in 26 months. That's a whole ass toddler, okay? I have 2 toddlers now. Let that sink in for the people in the back. Two of them, 2 toddlers, out in the world, cute as bugs. For those that don't follow me on my socials, I had another daughter in October of 2024. Her name is Piper. She's phenomenal. Couldn't be happier with her. She's adorable. She's fantastic. I would chat your ear off about that, but that's not why we're here. We're here because I owe you guys something. When Jess decided to leave the podcast, the only thing I said on November 17th was a post on the stories. So if you didn't catch it then, or you need a refresher, I'll read it to you now. So November 17th, 2023, I think this was the day after Jess posted, something like that. I said, "Hi guys, Rach here. I just wanted to say that I'm not sure where the podcast is going or if it will continue. Right now, I'm just processing what Jess leaving means for me and for everyone else. I never saw myself ever doing this without Jess, so that reality is really struggling to sink in, and I'm hoping to be in a better place to talk about it soon. Thank you all so much for showing Jess the love and support she deserves. I'm proud of her for choosing herself, even if that hurts me in the process. Fuck people pleasing, always. I wish I knew the answer on where to go from here, but I guess you'll have to bear with me a little longer. I love you." So the little longer, 26 months, turns out. When Jess told me that she needed to be done with the podcast, I just don't even know I didn't know, and I still don't know how to process what that meant, because all I knew at the time was that she is one of my dearest friends. This is something she needed, but it crushed me. And I don't want to tiptoe around that. Jess knows that. I obviously there was a lot we did not talk about, because when Jess told me that she needed to be done with the podcast, it wasn't like a collaborative conversation. It was not a conversation on how can we make this work? How can I set boundaries around what we talk about? How can I, it wasn't. There was no conversation. I could give no rebuttal. I couldn't say, everything you've gone through had value, and I want you to bring that to the podcast, because that's not my job. It wasn't my role. I had to go from podcast co-host to best friend. And all I knew is, knowing myself, is if I processed the loss of her as my podcast co-host and the fear of losing the podcast itself, our friendship would not have made it. Sorry, my cat spooked me over there. No, always providing a little comedic relief there, Queenie. Jeez, things were getting serious. Anyway, yeah, Jess was 6 months pregnant. I knew she needed me as her friend. I knew that I needed her, and we never talked about it really again. Not in detail, not until about a month ago, when I was approached about starting this podcast again with someone else. So if that's what you've been waiting for, the spoiler alert is Jess is not coming back. I like to believe I gave space for her to come back. As time has gone on, I would say things like, start up that old podcast. And it just, it doesn't change the fact that she doesn't want to process real live emotions to an audience in real life time. And I respect that. And I don't think podcasting specifically, or influencing, or like whatever, is for everyone for that reason. Because someone like Jess, who is so authentic and so real, hated withholding, hated not being able to talk about what was going on, but also knew to like honor herself, her family, the way she processes things. She couldn't do that on the podcast. And no matter how much I want or you want or anything, like that doesn't change the boundary she set, that like podcasting in the end needed to end for her, where she's at in her life. And yeah, so we've obviously had more conversations. I was approached by someone close to me to see if I was willing, if I wanted to start the podcast up, because the last, I would say about 6 months, I'd mentioned to like my close friends and family that I missed it. I think it took me a while to get there because, Jess announces that she's leaving. I'm kind of trying to scramble for a few months to think like, how could I keep this going? Realistically, am I really going to get guests all the time on the podcast? Or I didn't feel like replacing Jess was appropriate either, like right away. Like I repeat, we've never made any money doing this. So it also felt like, maybe it's it. Maybe we call it, maybe the dream is dead. And I think that was a really big difference for me and Jess, is like Jess loved the podcast, but it was not her dream, and it was mine. And, soon after Jess told me that she needed to be done, I found out that I'm pregnant with my second. Not planned. Hate to be that girl, not planned. It was the day after Elsie's first birthday. And I think I just entered into a survival mode then. I've never wanted to be a 202 mom. And I just had a really full schedule. I did what I could. I kept blazing the trail forward in my life. And Piper was born, and we found out that she has cystic fibrosis with a chronic lifelong illness. She's doing really well. She's awesome and amazing. But being a medical parent, woof. The first year of Piper's life was the hardest of mine. And it's so weird because the first year of Elsie's life was the best. So I'm sure there will be a lot of space for me to talk about all of that. But it really hasn't been since the last few months, like I'm coming up for air again, that I'm mourning the fact that I didn't have the podcast to process and, have a community and talk about everything I was going through. But here we are. Here I am with a spotlight and a camera and a microphone in my face. And we're doing it, I guess. So yeah, we will have a new full-time co-host. What? The teasers, I guess, the, clues are, it's a woman, obviously. She's been on the podcast before. She's one of my closest friends. And I have just in this narrowed it down to about 3 or 4 people. So get your sleuths on. I feel if I give any more information, it'll be painfully obvious. If it's not already obvious, I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I think I am a completely different person. And maybe that's what like a mental health crisis does to you. It's like you're reborn into this new person that you don't recognize. And I don't know if I have any value. It's so weird. I feel like I left you guys as like this confident, self-assured person. Like I have been re-listening to old episodes to kind of like get a feel for, where I left things off. And the last 2 episodes that Jess and I recorded before, it ended, I was like so confident as a mom. I was so like who was I? And I think I'm nervous that this version of me isn't relevant or isn't likable or funny. I don't know. I guess you're going to stumble through it with me. I'm also nervous that Jess is so cool. She's so cool and she's so funny. And I think all of us are going to miss her perspective and our dynamic. And she wants to come on and be on some episodes. And my kind of boundary with that is like, I need to establish the, dynamic with my new co-host. Even though we've recorded episodes together before, like we gotta, there's a relationship that is formed when you podcast with someone. And I'm really excited to grow that with my new co-host. Okay. I always anticipated this to be a short episode. Okay. But one fun thing that we'll be doing moving forward is we are going to have a relationship hotline. So you will be able to call in and leave a voicemail about like if you need relationship advice, whether that's with your partner or your parent or your sibling, whatever. If you want to hear people give you some sort of wisdom or whatever, burp, give this number a call. 330-333-2535. I repeat, 330-333-2535. And we will get back to you on air with the For Better and Worse podcast with Rach and some other broad. Over and out for now. Oh, wait. Actually, what if we ended it like that? Okay, moving forward. Okay. I'm releasing this now. The first episode of the podcast will come out January 9th. And that is it. This is For Better and Worse podcast with Rach and somebody else very soon. I'll see you guys soon.